I got one more new thing to show you that I have added on to this. I have added on Kerbal operating system into my list of mods. And if I go into control now, I have here the KR-2042B scriptable control system. And what this is a little computer that you can load in programs that I've already built. And I'm realizing I put this in a very bad... Shoot. I think I need to... Okay, yeah, I think I need to make that the root part. I need to give myself a little bit of room. I did not think this through. That's going to need to go right in there. Redo these struts. Sorry, I should have. That works. And are these closing off there okay? Let's just redo this fairing just a little bit. I think it's okay. You know what? We'll live with it. I think it's good. Okay, let's save this again. So, what does this do for me? It allows me to do programs, and I do have a number of kOS programs that I've used in the past, and I'm going to show you my launch program that I have. It also, you can put in boot files. I have a couple of boot files. Boot number 1, what it does is it loads on a couple of programs for executing maneuver nodes and plotting orbits for you, which I like. Okay. So I want to show you kOS, and we're going to do a practice. I think this thing's ready for a practice launch. So let's save this, and let's simulate. This again, practice. First time with this booster. If you are interested in having a discussion about coding, or if you want to just get these programs, they are all available on my Discord. Okay. So what that little boot file did that I had, I selected there, it opened up this little window. This is my terminal from where I run my programs. And it also loaded in a couple of programs for me. So if I hit list, oh, that's the entire shebang. Wait a minute, switch to 1. I think it also switched drives. 1 is the drive that's located on this vessel. Now if I hit list, yes, I have my circat. Oh, I need to up the space. It's supposed to also copy over another program, but I don't think I have enough space. So I'll get into that. But I'm going to switch my drive to 0. 0 is, whoops, switch. I forgot the word 2. This is old school programming. 0 is the archive, and it's meant to be a computer like that's in mission control over here, that holds all kinds of programs. Obviously, it is a program. It is really my computer where my programs are really stored. But in that, I do have a launch program. So I'm going to go launch. Whoops, I got to click back on the terminal. And this program, I've designed it to take a few parameters. Number 1, it asks you what is the inclination of the orbit you want. I want an inclination of 0. The second part is what's the altitude of the orbit you would like to get into. I want to get into an 80-kilometer orbit. And the third one, I have a parameter that allows me to put in, have it fly up inverted, kind of upside down like the space shuttle does. If I put in an I, this thing will roll like a space shuttle does and go up in an inverted attitude. If I put in any other letter, I put in an N for not inverted, then it won't. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit enter, and I get an error. Why do I get an error? Oh, I'm supposed to type the word run. Oh my gosh, I'm off to an auspicious start here. N. Run launch with these parameters. There we go. So now it's giving us a countdown. Firing the engine, and then I got a... Whoa! This is why we test. What happened there? I think the staging got all messed up. Oh, no, look at the staging. Check your staging. Oh my gosh. So fired the engine, and then I decoupled the pod. That's clearly not what I want to do. Move that out of the way. And the parachute. Oh my golly. How did the staging get so borked? Oh, because I know why. Again, root parts. Put the root part back. Okay. that, then the launch clamps. That's not right. Then this, and then all of these engines into that hole, you sillies. Okay, now I think this is sensible. So that, this needs to be up here. That's for when you do that. Bump, 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 bump. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Save that. Simulate. That was funny. And kOS is kind of similar in the sense to McJeb. I see that comment, a discussion of what it is, except you have to put in your own programs. And a rule that I have with kOS is I don't run a program that I didn't write. That's my rule. So that makes me feel like I'm still a spaceman. Spacemen write their own code. There we go. So there we go. We're going to run launch, 0 inclination, 80 kilometer altitude, not inverted attitude. And we're going to run that. And then we're going to get a little bit of a countdown again. 3, 2, 1. And then I'm hitting the space bar to do the release. Oh, we do have some wobbliness going. Okay, so some strutting is going to have to happen, but we'll see how this goes. We are testing this at the same time. Oh, yes, of course. What happened there is the script called an auto abort. It didn't like all that wobbling. It said, you're wobbling too much. I am going to abort on you whether you like it or not. And it did the abort, and as you can see, worked. It ejected the Kerbals away. So we got to fix up that. So we got a bit of wobbly happening. Where is that wobbling happening? This, of course, has nothing to do with kOS. This is just my crappy rocket design. I suspect we're getting wobbling down in this joint right here. So I'm going to take some of these. I'm going to use the auto strut feature. I used to think the auto strutting was a bit of a cheat, but given how wobbly KSP rockets can be, so I'm just going to auto strut all of these to the heaviest part. Maybe that one's probably okay. See if that stiffens this up a little bit. This whole business in here is probably very wonky, so I'm going to take that, auto strut. That's why part of the reason why I put in these struts. It should be okay. And I'll do this one and auto strut it. Okay. Hopefully that will stiffen this up a little bit. Where's the auto strut? Auto strut to the heaviest part. Okay. Try this again. Simulate. This goofiness would have happened whether I used kOS or not. It's just kOS decided the goofiness was too much for it. It probably wouldn't have made it into orbit anyway. Okay, let's try this again. So run, launch, 0, 80, N, go. Hopefully this time it'll be a lot stiffer. Okay, release the hounds. That looks a lot better. Yep, okay, so that seemed to take care of it. And I do have the engine and the launch clamps on separate stages because Kerbalism can cause an engine failure right at launch. So I want to make sure that engine is running, and then I'm going to release the launch clamps. What I really should do is add a bit to the script that detects whether the thrust is nominal, and then if the thrust is nominal, it will make the decision whether to release the rocket or not rather than me doing it. I just haven't gotten around to that part yet. So right now I'm doing nothing. It's flying it completely by itself. It's picking its own trajectory, or not its own trajectory. I programmed the trajectory it is to follow. And I don't know, this is kind of nice. We do so many launches in this series, or in KSP in general. Just automate some of the things you do so much. And also, rather than me having to concentrate on what's going on with the launch, I can read through the chat and engage with the people in the chat rather than having to worry about staring at my screen all the time. So this is going to, oh, I realized one thing I don't. This is not going to stage this stage. So I got to be ready to stage that. I will talk about how that's going to work in just a little bit. And it has just reduced the throttle. Again, I'm trying to emulate the way I fly this, that once I get around a minute from apoapsis, it reduces the throttle. It's not looking at the time to apoapsis. It actually made that decision based upon altitude, and then picked an appropriate thrust-to-weight ratio. It's adjusting it to a thrust-to-weight ratio of 1.1, and then it's just going to hold to that. It's not changing the throttle. So actually, the thrust-to-weight ratio is continually climbing as this thing loses mass through its fuel. But again, it did that. I did not do that. And it's building up apoapsis. It's locking itself to prograde now. Just switched to it's locking to that orbital prograde vector. I'm not sure what's going to happen first, whether I'm going to lose this stage or whether I'm going to get to an altitude of 50 kilometers. I think I'm going to lose the stage first. But I love that this is one giant stage as opposed to with all the radial boosters and all that kind of stuff. It's way more dependable. At 50 kilometers, it's going to stage all this business. There it goes. Nicey nice. Again, I didn't do that. It did that. And I got to do the staging once this stage is done, but I'll explain to you how I'm going to fix that in just a second. Oh, we got ourselves a 1202 alarm. The 1202 alarm, that's a bit of an inside joke. Oh, let's end the program. That's a bit of an inside joke because in Apollo 11, they keep talking about 1202 alarms and nobody knows what they are. And that happened because it detected a dramatic loss of thrust. And that's because that engine ran out of juice. So I'm going to fix that right now by adding a very simple part that I simply forgot to add. So what we're going to do is under control, I have another mod installed called Smart Parts. I love this little mod called Smart Parts. They add all kinds of very simple automation features, and they do different things. They look for different events to occur, and then they can trigger staging events, or they can trigger action groups, or whatever you like. And the one I'm looking for is this one, the DrainX1 Fuel Sensor Action Group Trigger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right down here on my first stage, right there. I'm going to right click on it, and what this does is it's looking for the amount of liquid fuel that's in here. And when the amount of liquid fuel gets down to 0, it's going to activate a stage. So that will get it to stage at the appropriate time rather than me having to stage. And you can change this to other resources. Liquid fuel, of course, is fine. You can change this to other percentages. 0 is what I'm interested in. And you can change this to other events like action groups or whatever it is you like. The default is the sensible one for this, probably the thing I use it for the most. And so that's going to take care of the staging automatically. That should fix that 1202 alarm error that I got. So I think I am pretty confident with this thing. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do this for real. So we're going to launch this. We're going to do a rescue. So I'm going to launch it with Jebediah aboard, and I'm going to leave an empty seat for the person we're going to rescue. We're going to rescue one of our Michaels. And I'm going to save this, and I'm going to launch it. I am really confident we can get this in the air, and we can at the very least round up Michael, and then we'll see what else we can do with this thing. All right, this one's for real now. No reverts, no nothing. I'm gonna bring up my contracts. I need to have all the contracts associated with this vessel, and the one I'm looking at is rescuing either Michael O or Michael A, and one of them is in low orbit and one of them is in a stupid orbit way up here that I'll have to deal with at another time. But here comes Michael A right now. Let's set him as a target. He is in a pretty low orbit. I want to make sure that I'm going to be ahead of him because I'm going to launch into an orbit that's higher than him. So I'm going to time warp him around. And then we're going to do our launch. Got some more science from the moon. All right. And I just want to make sure, right about there. Let's stop that. Okay, so we're going to do a launch. So I'm going to run my launch script. This time, again, 0 inclination, but I'm going to go into a, let's go into a 110 kilometer orbit. Be above them, again, not inverted. And we'll run that. I just got to get ready to do the staging. I got to fix that. It's something to fix in this is to fix the releasing of the launch clamps. I got to add that bit to my script. So I've already forgotten. Who are we going after here? We are going after Michael A. Michael A is the one we're interested in, so let's open up that one. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of this launch script. I think it works really well, and if, again, people are interested in it, I do have a GitHub with a link in the Discord. Go to the Discord, go to kOS help, and there's a kOS help and sharing section there, and pinned to the top of that is a link to my GitHub if you want to download it and play with it. It does look for, like, if this thing suddenly lost control, it will do the abort for me. Which I really like. If it, you know, did that 1202 error when it detected the problem with the thrust, which is actually kind of funny. Let's see here. There we go. And I think it's when it gets to 20 kilometers, it's going to nerf the thrust on this engine. Right now, it's just going to be at full. Okay, just cut thrust down. Limit the thrust to weight ratio to 0.1. For people that have watched my old series where I've used kOS before, this was quite a few months ago when I stopped doing that particular series. I have modified this program a little bit. It used to cut the thrust to weight ratio to 0.9. But then it kept adjusting the throttle to keep it at 0.9 as it lost fuel. Right now, it just does it 1.1 at the moment it does it, and then it doesn't adjust it any more than that. And I find it works. I think I like it better, and it more reflects the way I would fly it if I was flying it manually. Okay, locking on to the prograde vector. Claus says, love a good programming inside joke. Just watch out not to confuse your colleagues in the future. Yeah, inside jokes can be confusing. I hope I write reasonably clear code. I make no promises for people that look at it. I will emphasize coding, programming is not my profession. Okay. Oh, that was the fairing deploy. That was supposed to happen. I was waiting for the stage to go, and then I was paying attention to the wrong thing. I am not a programmer by profession. Coding is definitely at the hobby level for me. Okay, should stage here. Oh no! Okay, we're going to abandon this. Control C. Okay, obviously I got some work to do. Let's stage it. Throttle up. Come on, go. Okay, so I got work to do. Not quite sure what happened there. We got it, though. We got it. We got it. We were up high enough we could rescue it. Okay, so I know that didn't impress too many people. Let's close this. So I had to abort the program. So much for that 1202 error. It's okay. We got this. Apple Apps, this is at 100 kilometers. I want to go to about 110, I think. Okay, let's cut it. There we go. We can put our lights on. We can deploy our antenna. I did stick an antenna on here, right? I did. I should have put that on an action group too. And I'll work, okay, in the interim, I will try to figure out why that error came up. All right. Actually, I can show you one other thing I can do with, because it did load on. If I switch back to 0, I have a program called circat. And if I go circat apsis, I think it is. No, maybe it's circ at run circat. Oh my god, I don't know. It's been too long and now I don't know my own apo. There it goes. What it just did was created the circularization node to get my nice circular orbit. See? It's not completely useless. Okay, let's go back to this. Alright, let's get up there. And I have a program and I forgot to up the hard drive space. It doesn't have enough room to... Actually, let's run it anyway. I know what I can do. I want to make this a kOS thing, try to impress people. If I switch back to the archive drive, I do have a program called Xman, which is a maneuver node executor. So it's going to execute the maneuver for me. It didn't load it onto the ship because I forgot to improve the size of the hard drive on this thing so it could do that. That was my fault. But let's see how well this program does. I want to show something. But I like automating a lot of this stuff. Makes it all go kind of a bit faster. Good news, this ship is performing well, I think. So it's just got 166 meters per second left, and there's still 2,092 meters per second in the vessel. So I am really happy with what it has. It's going to have like about what, 1,800? 1,900, over 1,900 meters per second at delta V when this is all done. So again, I'm not doing this. This is the program doing it. Hopefully it'll perform better than the launch script did. And then it should be reducing throttle here at the end. Let's see how good a job it did. Did it create a nice circular orbit for me? Close that. We can now get rid of this. Burn is complete. And look at that. 111.6 by 111.3. That ain't bad. Good job. Okay. Let's put this onto the north. Not north. Yeah, it is north, but the normal vector. And let's go get our Kerbal. So... don't have this part automated. And I can see I'm going to need to come around a lot more than this. Okay, let's pop ahead in orbit. That was too much. Back. Okay. A little bit too much on the burn here. And honestly, this should help speed things up a little bit, too. This is less of me fiddling. The less I spend fiddling, I think, the better. The other way. Oh, sometimes clicking on those little arrows. A little bit more on the retrograde front. Oh dear, what's happening here? Ah, it's being a pain. Oh no, I see what's going on. Okay. Try and get this in fairly close. Okay, I got one here, 0.7 kilometers. That's good enough. Let's do that one. So we've got to get ourselves to that maneuver node. And let's limit this thrust because it's a very, very small burn. Put that on prograde. And watch this from here. The purple markers were better. I don't know what. I get obsessed by not having the purple markers on there. That's just me. Oh, it's retrograde, of course, silly. Other way around. Other way. There we go. All right. We're almost ready. I'm going to start the burn when there's about 6 seconds before I'm supposed to, and then just go to half throttle. Not a very long burn. There we go. About 600 meters separation. I think that's good. Jebediah. It's nice having the solar panels all the way around. I don't have to sit there fiddling with electricity all the time. So I'm hoping this will be a good vessel for me for a little while. Oh, there he goes. I see him blowing below me. Blowing by below me. Why not use the program for the maneuver execution? That was a good idea. ePlay says, why didn't you just use the program there? And the answer, I don't know. I tend to like to do... I trust myself more than I trust the program. So when it's a really tiny little burn, I have a tendency to just do it myself manually. That's just me. And it was a very tiny little burn. So I'm just trying to bring down that close encounter indicator. Again, we get these danger warnings about Michael when we come in close, but then they go away once Kerbalism realizes, oh, he does have life support. He's okay. So just bringing in this close approach distance, less than about 250 meters now. 200 meters. Keep going in this direction until, oh my gosh, still going under 100 now. That's good. About 45 meters. Nice job, Jeb. Get in there closer. I'm glad I upgraded this engine. I don't have to worry about doing all these ignitions all the time. It's really close. I have to give a little bit more thrust because I noticed this time was still going down even while I was under thrust there. Okay, we'll let ourselves get in real close, and then we'll get them. Gotta be a little careful because you can actually... I should really push this off to the side a little bit. Because you can't actually blow him around. Okay, let's zero this out. 2, 1, and go. Okay, good enough. Back onto the normal vector here, and we'll rotate the hatch. There's the hatch with the blue light. Let's go meet Michael. Michael A is another pilot. Nice purple hair on you, Michael. This is like the Star Trek Discovery Michael. Obviously, she was named by Vulcans. Okay, board. Excellent. All right. So that is one piece of this. We got Michael, but we're not going to get ready to bring Michael down to Kerbin just yet. I'm looking at the time, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to put phase 2 of this mission onto Thursday. I'm going to pause it at this. Sorry to go mid-mission, but we got Michael. We've shown that this craft is ready. What I want to do next is I want to do this advanced piloting one, which is to change my inclination by 45 degrees. That is a lot. And if I were to do it exactly where I am right now, I probably don't have the Delta V to pull it off, but we'll do a little trick and bring the cost of that way down, and I'll show that to you on Thursday. And then I think probably keep them up here for a week and do this keep Kerbals up here for a week contract as well.